Okay, so hopefully this one will work. Just waiting for this to work. Testing, testing, testing. Testing. This one working? No. Testing. Let's disable all these then. Testing. 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 Let's disable all these then. Testing. You can hear me? Excellent. Great. Thank you very much. Testing. Testing. Right, let's get back to work. Testing. Let's disable all these then. Thanks for letting me know. I don't know how you found me. Testing. To hear me. You found me. Excellent. This one works. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you. Testing. Right, let's get back to work. Brilliant. I can't hear myself, so I may have problems with my audio. So I'm going to have to get Football 24 up. So hopefully... Hi, Stephen. I've just got to get Football 24 up now because I don't have any audio on my computer. It's typical, as soon as you start a live stream, it all goes pear-shaped. Now we're missing out on opportunities. Right, repeating. Okay. I don't know what else I can do, I'm afraid. I have turned off, it may be before I turned volume off. Hi Phil, let me just get Football 24 up. I'm way behind. We'll be in for the 3, so that will be good. Sorry about this, I'm just not a techie, so any problem that comes with software I know absolutely nothing about. I do have a spot of bother with it. So I'm just picking the leagues. I have to go to the Football 24 website because the app is not reliable. It just doesn't update on the scores when you want it to. Thanks very much, Mango. You were hearing me because I was listening to myself as well. So I'm not going to get any auditory alerts today on my computer. So that means Football 24 is going to be very important today. And I'm going to have to try and remember our odds on favourites and our shorties like Manchester City for goals. So let me just trying desperately to get Football 24 working. The website. So I would have had that all done had I not had that issue. So I'm down to N for Norway. Polish First Division, we'll have a look. Scottish Premier League, of course. Swedish Superettan, just in case there's a goals angle. And we can hopefully look at some goals angles today as well, because I'm convinced the key is in the odds. So Football 24 is up on my mobile phone. So we've just had that Augsburg Dortmund. Freiburg have scored first against Leipzig. That might provide us with an angle in. St. Pauli is 0-0 currently, and very strong favourites Stuttgart have scored first. So there's Napoli, Lecce is 0-0. That's something to look at, but that's typical Antonio Conte. Very, very hard to score against. The only thing we're hoping for will be the goal for Napoli to get. So I hope you can still see the screen. I'm going to be moving screens now. Have a look at this. You can see 5 shots on 10 off and 8 corners for Napoli. It's a matter, as you saw with Reading earlier on, the real value there, laying that draw. And we've already had an excellent afternoon with a 3-2 for Coventry. 100% profit there if you stayed in. And I always try to tempt you to stay in, because if you can stay in, you can get that 100 quid instead of, well, you'll still take 10 quid on the draw. As you can see, you get amply rewarded. So Napoli looks a good play today. Let me just get back to Football 24. There we go. So we're not missing any goals. I think Dortmund scored first against Augsburg, so that's not really a trading angle. Leipzig might respond against Freiburg. They've certainly been in excellent form, Leipzig. When we tell the in-play stats, it's a very tight match. 13 dangerous attacks each. Palermo absolutely bossing Reggiano. I think I can take that off the watch list there. Motor Lublin, newly promoted, might be vulnerable late on, particularly against an odds-on favourite. Have we missed all the fun? Well, Motor Lublin have led twice, so we have missed all the fun. Normally, as you know, I like taking on these newly promoted sides. I think I'm going to have to get Soccer 24 up. I did all of this earlier on, the odds-on favourites, because these, you'll see, after the day is done, tend to translate into goals. We've got the Premier League beginning. Good opportunity for Brentford to get 3 points today. Brighton should really be eyeing 3. They're riding on the crest of a wave. And talking of riding on the crest of a wave, old Dick Emery's lot, Aston Villa, well, there's no stopping them at the moment in Europe and domestically. They're even better away from home with that goal-scoring record. So we've got plenty of these odds-on favourites. And I think the odds-on will translate into goals. I hope you can still see and hear me okay. So looks as if we're all okay. And you should be seeing some other screens now. So I hope everything is okay. Do let me know if it's not on Telegram or here. And in the Bundesliga, as you know, possibilities for Leipzig, but not really showing it stats-wise. You'd expect of Dortmund today, but they were a little laboured against St. Pauli. Stuttgart 1.2, get that goal before half-time. Post 20 minutes, well, we'll have a look. 19 minutes. Wasn't reading the script. So already the odds-on favourites are kind of delivering. So these are all, we'll be looking for goals, basically. You can see already the ones that have finished. Well, that one finished 0-0. That was a pity. But they're a rarity. Reading and Bristol Rovers, well, we laid the draw second half. So you'd have made that into a successful overs trade if you backed over 1.5 goals second half with that red card in play. Very decent play. So these don't have to be over 2.5 goals if you do get a profitable overs trade out of them. The Leeds one stands out, of course, with that 0-0. But we normally tend to see them deliver, as you can see here already. And if you marry it with the strong countries, which you've got with that 2.5 goal list, you'll see that the Bundesliga is up there with the Bundesliga 2, 67% over 2.5 goals. So you've got a 2/3 chance of seeing overs in one of your matches. Let's just have a quick look at Napoli. Well, the 2.5 goals you can get here. So a quick look, and you can see from the research, these are just the shortlisted ones from the research. I tend to agree with them. I would expect, or I could see Everton eyeing 2 goals today. They normally have that record against certain teams. And German Bundesliga is very well positioned here as well for overs, as is typical of a 67% overs league, as you can see there. So these are the top leagues, over 60%. Germany, absolute standout here. Premier League 2, Professional Development League. I keep harping on about these. If you're looking for overs, this is probably a good way to do it. You can get all of this at soccerstats.com. And if you go, I think it's to win, draw, win. And you can look at the actual odds pre-match if you want to attack overs for that particular day. You can see the pre-match odds. That's indicative of a potential goal before half-time, isn't it? Now, if you wait 15 minutes, some of these could rise to evens. And you can see already the overs percentage. So win, draw, win, over 2.5 goals by league. If you want to have a quick look at the pre-match odds to give you an indication. This you could see as potential value if Everton can eye those 2 goals today. But these you're expecting goals before half-time, aren't you? Manchester City. 1.44 Chelsea, expecting goals before half-time. Particularly if you see that 1.6, 1.7 for over 1.5 goals second half, that's indicative of an over 2.5 goals second half. Got Napoli and Lecce beginning. This is a typical Antonio Conte. All you've got to do is rely on whether he can get his players scoring. This was the scenario last match against Empoli. 0-0 at half-time, ended up 0-1. Antonio Conte, hard to beat. This is nowhere near the Napoli of last season, isn't it? I hope you're still okay. Robert's watching 3 matches. Brentford, Aston Villa and Brighton. Thank you very much, Robert. Expecting goals in all 3 of those, I would expect today. Manchester City have scored first already against Saints after 5 minutes, which is absolutely typical of Manchester City. But we're on hand if they fall foul. So let's just catch up with the in-play stats. As you can see there, I'm probably not going to hear anything because I have audio issues. And we've also got flash score up. These are the shorties of the shorties. These are your Jimmy Cranky type odds. We're talking only 11 today. It's very discerning. At the end of today, goals. Already these 3. Goals. That's all we're after. We've already got a goal there. We've already got a goal there. So what we're looking at is the Napoli scenario, where my idea being, I know it's Antonio Conte and he'll do a 1-0. That's always the danger. An 89th minute 1-0 for Conte. But you're trying to rely on the pre-match odds. Over 1.5 goals should be over evens. Well, it's there now. So bang, that fits in perfectly with my scenario, and I'll be waiting patiently now for that single goal from Napoli before hopefully the 70th minute. The alternative route is to lay the draw, or wait for the draw odds to get a little bit lower, or precise or precision to be paid for being precise. Obviously, with a Conte side, you'd be looking at a win to 0, which will limit your choice. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, I would say. They'll be looking at that. You'll be looking, of course, to try to ignite that 3-0 if you can. So these are all options. If you can just be creative, and you'll find the value routes. The simplest option would be like the Reading match earlier on. You lay the draw. You're expecting at least a goal from Napoli. It's likely to be a tight one. We just got to rely on the attack delivering. The defence will deliver, probably, as they have done, clean sheet after clean sheet. You just want that attack to deliver for Antonio Conte. So I'll wait a little bit. That's the kind of scenario. But I will delay. Lay the draw looks an obvious play. 3.6. It's up to you if you want to take that, or knowing that this was a 0-0, 1-0 last match for Napoli, you could hope to get a little bit more at 0-0 out of the market. But you can see they're starting to wake up. Napoli, 5 shots on. No shots on second half yet. 11 shots off, only the 1 second half. Yet to get going, you'd argue there. Chavs have opened up against Oliveriense. Odds on favourites, so I'll just ignore that for the time being. Cesena odds on favourites against Brescia. I don't have a strong opinion there. Again, odds on favourites scoring first. Cremonese already leading. Salernitana not fancy today, the newly relegated Salernitana. I always, I don't always, but I do look at them for a potential recovery mission. But they're not really showing it, and they weren't fancied by the market. But again, these odds are far too short. Far too short for a 2-0 lead, unless they know something I don't. So if you see some value like that, we've got the whole of the second half to go for a side who were in Italian Serie A last season. Yes, they're not fancy today, but that's far too short. Got to have a go. Costing you nothing to dip your toe in. All we need is one goal from Salernitana at the right time. Newly relegated. Not fancied at all. This is only a 2-0 lead. Far, far too short, but the market does have its reasons, I suppose. But you're getting a little bit of value out of this, but they've been kept very quiet. But they are leading in the dangerous attacks. So you never know. We might get something out of Salernitana. We will see. We've got goals coming in, but it's going to be difficult for me to decipher the odds on favourite matches in the lower tiers. I'll have to keep having a look. As you know, I like attacking the lower leagues via the odds. So I'm going to have to check whenever a goal's come in. As you can see, all of the odds on favourites there in Serie B scoring. That's why that lay of Cremonese is very speculative.
This market has been suspended.
Might have a Desmond late on for Cracovia, newly promoted Motor Lublin. And there we go. How about that? Perfect timing. And this is why you should be attending these live streams, which you are, of course, because you are the wise ones. You note I didn't pass this on to Telegram. And you'll note last week I would have got you a 330 quid first half profit on Aruka, just with a speculative play. So we're up and running with this one now. Very speculative, too short. And if you see value like that, or perceived value, 52 minutes. I mean, there's a whole second half to go. Way out of kilter, 1.04. Taking the proverbials, but it looks to be 2-1. So says Football 24. Let's have a look at our 10 minutes in. And we'll also get rid of some speculative ones. Not speculative ones, but peripheral leagues. As we move down.
Goal.
Already 2-0 up. Don't have an opinion there. Check one leg. Banikostrava. Odds on favourites, so they'll get a little look in. Championship. Okay. Odds on favourite. Oxford United today. We'll see whether the market has them right. Similar story with West Brom. We'll catch up with them. Sheffield United likely to be a 1-0 this one. They're certainly not an over 2.5 goal side. The Blades, that is for sure. I would be touching over 2.5 goals with them. FA Trophy, total lack of liquidity, I would suspect. So let's not get caught in there. I would look at goals for Peterborough. They normally give a good account. Millwall have been putting together some fighting results coming from behind, which their fans will like. So we'll keep an eye on them against the Swans today. Moving on down. Lower tiers, I can only play via the pre-match odds and the in-play stats. So you have to have a bit of faith. But the market's getting it right. So I'm collecting my odds-ons. Although I don't know why, because my audio's not working on my computer. Grimsby starting brightly against Milton Keynes Dons. So we'll work our way down. Then we get to the Premier League. See who started brightly, because it should be a goals fest in the Premier League. And there's the opening goal for the Blades. Is it going to be 1-0 again? They are very adept at this 1-0 scoreline. There's the Premier League. So let's have a quick look. Catch up with some of the matches. 8 corners already. Real pressure exerted from form. Watch out for Danny Welbeck possibly getting back on the score sheet again. Aston Villa just been brilliant throughout, and we've run out of space. So we'll have to keep an eye out. So we'll see that odds move. It's all risk reward. So, you know, that's a £45 liability. That's a £98 profit. So it's about a 2-to-1 risk reward return. So it may not sound spectacular, but you add that onto the 96,
Goal.
the 16 quid on Reading, and you're all ready, mark, for today, heading towards 150 quid.
Goal.
Come in, Motor Lublin and Cracovia. Come in a little early for me, 72nd minute, but newly relegated sides, or newly promoted sides, always gettable. So you can collect that tenner if you want, add list, or you can look for that rather juicy 55 on the draw. Or one thing I like to try, and that gets to 0.00, get out with a break even. You'll have bought yourself £10.50 worth of time for there to be a goal scored by Salernitana. They've already got 1 second half. You might see an increase in belief from them. As you can see, a very tight match. So not quite a 1.08 performance, that's for sure. So do have the confidence to disagree with the market, because that is a brilliant way to find some value. Podabuce have scored first against Banako, which might give us a trading outcome there. Sunderland have scored first against Oxford. They were odds on favourite today, so I'll take that off the watch list at the moment. Preston North End, football geniuses, Plymouth Argyle. I would be keener to take on Wayne Rooney, football genius, rather than look to trust his side. See, Stuttgart are really going for it, as you'd expect. 1.22 favourite. I think we can take them off the watch list today. Champions League side. Looking at the possibility of a Leipzig equaliser. I think their loss only came against Liverpool in the Champions League, and a Juve in the Champions League. They have been very, very tight defensively in the Bundesliga, keeping clean sheets, which means, are they going to cap Freiburg at a single goal? Freiburg have scored 3 goals in 2 of the last 4 matches. So they, against the right team, they do have goals in them, this Freiburg side. But Leipzig, you can tell a real notable
goal
focus on that defence. Take off those Champions League matches. An achievement, I think, to keep Liverpool to 1-0 only as well. I think they might keep Freiburg quiet, which makes for a very attractive insurance play. Hi, Colin. Man City 1-0, says Michael. I hope you can see and hear me okay, Colin. We've had some auditory issues. I can't hear my computer, but apparently you can hear me okay, which is great. Huddersfield scoring first against Exeter. I believe they're odds on favourite. Should be coming up here, I hope. There we go. That's the Huddersfield Gold. Odds on favourite. That's what we want to see. We'd start getting interested if Exeter score first. Then we'd be asking the question, why are Huddersfield at home favourite? Because we've got Cheltenham scoring first against Carlisle. That's what we're interested in. Why were Carlisle odds on pre-match? Why would Cheltenham outsiders? Do they deserve the opening goal? It's English League 2. Let's collect the stats on that one. There it is, Carlisle and Cheltenham. Keep an eye on that one now. We know that Carlisle, they're already up here on the watch list. Just see if those in-play stats start waking up at some point. Still very early in the match to decipher the reaction you're going to get from Carlisle yet.
Goal.
Odds-ons. We also do these odds-ons because they should be bringing, as you can see throughout the day. Look at all of this in Serie B. It's all good stuff, isn't it? Look at that in the Extraclassa. The only thing I'm doing is collecting odds on favourites. So hopefully they produce the goals that we need in order to trade the overs market successfully. I'm not saying over 2.5 goals. I look over 1.5 goals if it's 0-0 at half time, for example. We can experiment with this one. So let's have a look at what the market looks like, although it's very, very late. Trelleborg and Geffler. So please don't follow me in here. This is just to show you through. Trelleborg and Geffler. So we're getting The draw is 2.1 at the moment, but we're looking at
Goal.
1.5
Field
goals. But
considered
this
as
would
1
be
to
done.
0.
It'll be interesting to see if we get that goal, particularly if it's scored by the away side. You might get a green screen out of this. Now you could do that, and you could lay. Don't forget, this is just thinking aloud, but I think we're coming up with a really good strategy, and I'll be passing on most of that to you once I get it, hopefully in a video format for you. So we're backing over 1.5 goals, laying over 0.5 goals, and we'll see whether we can conjure up a goal early enough to get that 101 profit, showing enough green to cover that 24. It's all experimental at the moment. Is this going to be worth it? I don't know. How long will this take to degrade? I don't know. To 13, which is a third of liability? Question mark. By entering in the 63rd minute, there's more urgency for these sides to score as well, with the clock ticking. So we've got that going for us as well. So we'll be look on that with interest. I think that's the route for me to go in the future, is over 1.5 goals. Second half, I think it's a very good play. St. Pauli and the Wolf, 2.6 to favourite, so the market's giving the newly promoted side a chance today. An over 2.5 goal league, this one. They're on a 3-match losing run, St. Pauli, so they will fancy having a go at the Wolf today, particularly when the market fancies them. But they are conceding 2 goals far too readily. Having said that, Wolfsburg are scoring and conceding 2 goals far too readily as well. 3 of the last 4 matches. So both defensively worrisome. And you can see it's a very tentative attack from St. Pauli and from the Wolf. Brighton being kept very quiet by Wolf so far. 20 minutes in will be a success for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Look at all of those L's. It's not a happy place, is it? Scoring and conceding as well, but conceding far, far too many goals. Tend to see goals before half-time in a Wolves match as well. Is this the defensive reaction we're seeing to conceding 7 goals in the last 2 matches? Have we seen that reaction against Brentford, suddenly conceding 2 goals against Man City, keeping them honest to the end as well? Bolton is starting brightly against Peterborough. No shots on 6 off and 4 corners. Keep an eye on that match. We tend to see goals in Peterborough matches. And we tend to see Peterborough perform, particularly when they're odds-on favourite. Carlisle, we know, possibilities of an equaliser if they can start warming up nicely. Let's go through. Brentford, well, Ipswich have kept them quiet for the first 20 minutes. Premier League today. Sheffield United got that first goal. Likely this is going to be a 1-0 or even a 2-0. They're very adept. Huddersfield were odds-on favourites pre-match, so we can take that off the watch list for the time being, unless we get an equaliser. Just go through some of the others. Charleroi and Leuven. Well, I'll just wait for the odds. Ceska Bujovica, 2.25 the favourite. No, thank you. Plymouth and Preston. I can't see anything really from Plymouth today. I wouldn't be trusting them. Looking through. Just see if anything catches the eye. 14 dangerous attacks for Barnsley. So we'll just keep an eye on that particular match. Cambridge and Burton. 19 dangerous attacks for Cambridge. So warming up nicely. Huddersfield were the favourite, as we know. Bradford and Donny, no strong opinion there. Barrow, odds on away from home. Still retaining their honour because they're leading. They're not odds on. They're only odds on because they're leading. Grimsby odds on leading. Crewe Alexandra, 4 shots off and 4 corners. Is there a chance of an equaliser here? So we'll keep an eye on that Crewe match. Again, as you can see, very in-play stats led in these lower tier leagues. Because I don't know the leagues or the players or the strengths or weaknesses very well. So it has to be what's happening on the day rather than pre-match research. Let's work our way up. Not getting any goals coming in. Very quiet. Probably because it's the half times in the Bundesliga, but you've got a couple of 0-0s to look at. Well, just the one, St. Pauli and Wolfsburg. Keen for 3 points, St. Pauli, after a 3-match losing run, and priced as well to win, or to be competitive, shall I say, not necessarily to win. So if you add those two together, we might see that draw vulnerable. Second half in, don't forget, a 67% over 2.5 goal league, the Bundesliga. It's the standout elite league. It's the only one, really, above 60% in Europe, apart from the Scottish Premier League. Falkirk, talking of the Scotland, Falkirk have scored against Dunfermline. The Allsvenskan don't have a strong opinion today, but 4 shots on, 6 off for Mjällby. Keep an eye. More of an overs league for me now. And you can see, can't you, 1.03 with half an hour to go away from home with very unconvincing stats. Very layable, doesn't it? I don't know the background in form. Scored 4 goals in the last home match, Sirius. So that I would see as a little bit of value. Aston Villa starting to warm up nicely. 24 minutes in, 3 shots on, 3 shots off, 2 corners. We normally expect, or we would with a side of this calibre, at least a goal before half time if you fancy that play. You can see it's one-way traffic. 1-0, 2-0 might offer you some value in the half-time market. Villa, but Bournemouth do have a goal or two in them as well. So we can have a look at Aston Villa. If you see one-way traffic like this, but with the Premier League, to trust a 1-0, 2-0, because you could get caught on the break. But as you can see, my thought process would be to get this 19 working. If we can just get that 1-0, it's a little illiquid. Similar story, 1-0 here would be backing over 0.5 goals at evens. 2-0 would be that, and overs would be that. So we might try the neutral route. So I would always start at the height, start at the bigger odds, because if you get the goal, these will start igniting. So we're just looking for a goal from the villains. That's a little bit too high, but going backwards. There we go. Just get like that. We want to see a goal. We've got, well, 27 minutes. Over 1.5 goals at sevens. So it's just experimenting at the moment. My preferred option would be the 1-0, 2-0, I think, to get that 2-0 ignited. As you can see, these liabilities are quite high. So we'll try to scale it. And then maybe what you'll be looking at is to cover your 11 quid. Oh, have we got a goal? Let's have a look. Lokomotiv Zagreb have scored against Hajduk Split, who are odds on. And it's their first goal for the villains. So when you see that, think
Aston Villa Bournemouth is 1-0.
half-time market. It's there for you. And it's a good place to create some value. Looks like Lecce are really giving a good account for the villains. You saw it coming, didn't you? The pressure. 3 shots on, 3 shots off, 2 corners. And we know they're riding on the crest of a wave at the moment. So let's have a look at how this has impacted the first half goals. You've got 14 quid profit here for a £7 stake. 2-1 return. But not as spectacularly as I wanted it to. It's because the goals come in the 27th minute. Ipswich have scored first against Brentford, so we've got a possible angle in there. So we'll look on that one with interest.
Brentford Ipswich is 0-1.
Just wait, this is the problem.
Goal. Aston Villa Bournemouth is 1-0.
But this gives a single goal that we're looking for. Can yield. This is totally wrong as well. You've got to, which might take an age. So you're seeing the positives and negatives of this market. The negatives is total lack of liquidity. What we need is a quickly tightening market, not this one. We can't get out. We wanted to lock in, see what we could make. But as you can see, it's just not, it's very sluggish. So just give that a few minutes. Hopefully it will tighten up. If you do the 1-0, 2-0 in the half-time score market, again, you've got the problem here of the market needing to reform. So these half-time markets have their uses, but from a trading perspective, they can be very frustrating. We just can't shake ourselves out of it because this should be 103. This should be tighter. So that's the negatives. We'll see if we can get one more goal. But thoroughly deserved from Aston Villa. And that's been disallowed, is it? I think it might be disallowed. So it's all academic. Let's have a look through.
This market has
5
been
shots
suspended.
on 5 off. Napoli still not crossed the line yet. But this is you trusting whether Conte can get his men to score that single goal. You saw his
Goal.
Empoli,
Aston
but he
Villa
got a
Bournemouth
second
is
half
1-0.
goal. You've got to trust today. Did score 2 goals against Como, second half, but did all their damage against Monza, first half. Did score 2 against Palermo at home, second half. I wonder if Lecce, whether they'll fit in. Still, Lecce have failed to score in the last 4 matches. They did concede 3 against AC Milan. You'd think that Napoli could equal that. So, well, I'm looking at a 1-0. I'm just hoping for that 1-0. 72nd minute, though. This is where you're getting into squeaky bum time. We'll see what the odds are looking like. Hey, I was just going to say squeaky bum time. And right on cue, Antonio Conte's boys deliver. There we go. So you should have laid the draw. Didn't lay the draw there. So that's... I did give it a mention, didn't I? So that's...
Goal.
I didn't do
Napoli
that.
Lecce is
I hope you
1-0.
did. In a nice simple lay the draw, that, shouldn't it? First goal for Napoli, job done. 0-2 to Ipswich now. Definitely something to think about.
Goal.
We'll reveal all.
Ipswich is
1.67 pre-match favourite. Seen the power with Coventry earlier on, bringing home 100 quid. And Jeff Hurst didn't hit the woodwork, or the ball did cross the line on this occasion. Oh, it was Jeff. 0-2. Goals from open play. That's fair enough. Have a look at the Bees. What are their in-play stats looking like? Have they woken up yet? Have they turned up yet? Well, no shots on target, 3 off, 1 corner. So we'll just wait for a catch-up for Ipswich, and we might see some value here. They are newly promoted, away from home, against a 1.67 home favourite. So all Aston Villa says, Robert, and you're spot on. Got that goal before half-time. So we'll just get the Ipswich match up and ready. I really do hope you laid the draw.
Goal.
And I'm very surprised
Ipswich is 0-2.
I didn't get involved. Odds 3.5. Look at this, all the way down to below 2.5. Zoom, yeah, over evens. This is what you're going to see with Antonio Conte from now on. Tightening the ship, aiming for a 1-0, 2-0. Off we go. Brentford and Ipswich. What kind of odds are you getting? You're getting X about a 1.67 shot, half an hour in. Well worth a punt. Very, very early in the match. 2/3 of the match to go. Ipswich, lack of belief, I would suggest, in keeping. The liability will be a little high because 1.51 is relatively high, but because we are early, that's why. Can't do any insurance on this because you have to cover the 0-2 and you have to cover the 1-2. You can't cover them both because one of them's unders, the other is overs. So that's, as you can see, it's a relatively high liability. What you can do to reduce that liability is perhaps have a little punt in the half-time market. to dip your toe in. Again, it's a lack of liquidity though, that's the problem. First half goals 1.5 already done. That's because it's 0-2, of course, yeah. So that I would look at the possibilities here of backing Brentford so early on, but it's a relatively high liability. You'd be hoping that you get an Ipswich goal. What you can do, you could cover this 0-2 if you wanted of an Ipswich goal, i.e., sorry, in the expectation of Brentford being the next goal scorer, or if they isn't a goal, Ipswich winning 0-2, if that makes sense. So it costs you very little, give you a little bit of peace of mind while it remains 0-2. It's a low liability. I say you can't cover the 0-2 and the 1-2. You can, but it's going to eat up potential profits. You can only cover the 1-2 on the correct score market. And you can see 5.6. It's going to cost you 13 quid in all to cover the 0-2 and the 1-2. So if you're willing to take that, that'll give you the peace of mind to go into the match odds and up your stake to 2020 if you fancied, because you've got the 0-2 covered, you've got the 1-2 covered. You're hoping that Brentford will be the next goal scorer, so you could actually increase your stakes if you fancied it. So this would be the total liability of 40 minus 15, 25, so that's 12.5 each. So we haven't had any real goals of interest coming in the meantime. Just that 0-2 to Ipswich looks very interesting. Early play. So backing Brentford 8.2. And you see, the longer you delay, you've got far more out of Brentford just in that 3 or 4 minute wait from 7.6 up to 8.2. There we go. That's your 40 quid liability. And it's covered by the 0-1. Of course, we get a 0-3. It all goes pear-shaped. Okay, so this covers the 0-2. This covers the 1-2. This captures the 2-2. And hopefully ignites this for the 3-2. Don't forget they're 1.67 pre-match favourites. So I'll pass this on to Telegram. Back Brentford 8.6, lay at Ipswich 1.44. Back Brentford 8.6 and lay Ipswich 1.4. Very early in the match for a newly promoted side. Keep a 0-2 lead away from home. If Brentford can score next, we are in business. 1.67 pre-match. I forgot to lay Leipzig. What a bit of pity. So second halves are beginning in Germany, so keep an eye. But it's far too quick, I'm afraid. You'd have had to make your decision at half-time whether to take on a Freiburg lead. Perhaps, given what Leipzig have achieved this season, only losing in the Champions League. Augsburg and Dortmund finally poised, but it looks a bit of a labouring performance post-Europe, I think, for Dortmund. Away from home is going to be a tricky one as well. And indeed, Augsburg have just scored to make it 2-1. So they're coming straight.
This market has been suspended.
In the Bundesliga. Do bear that in mind if you think both can generate a goal. There could be a match, this one, for the 1.5 goal idea,
RB Leipzig
just based
is 1-1.
on the fact that 67% over 1.5 goals. 67% over 2.5 goals, sorry. And look at this overs you're getting. As you know, problem I have is when do we exit when a goal hasn't been scored. This should give you a good run for your money for at least the 70th minute. If you can get a goal scored before then, you should be seeing a green screen. Napoli, well, this is Antonio.
Goal.
Blueprint.
Dortmund is 2-2.
Got the goal. I really hope. Really good mention. I did say As you heard, it was a bit like Reading earlier on, a little bit of value to be had for a 1.29 shot, with those draw odds so short. I would suspect they'll be looking for that second goal, Napoli, just to put it to bed. Mialbi against Gaias. We've got a 1.6 favourite, 1-0 down to 10 men in a dodgy league. Certainly one for you to target. And they haven't had a shot on target second half, Mialbi. They have had 5 shots off target second half.
Goal.
In the 71st minute,
is 1-1.
they've only had 10 minutes to react. They've only put in 3 shots off target. But it's one to target, particularly if they just start, this momentum starts rising. And if you can get some good value or low odds about Mialbi, about Gaias, then keep an eye on this one. We might just see some late action here. Don't forget the 1.67 pre-match favourite. Really poor performance. And it just capitulates, encapsulates. I need to look in a thesaurus, I think. Encapsulates this league. It's probably best attacked from a neutral perspective or at low odds. Salernitana, well, we got the goal back. You saw the difference that had. So I can take that off the watch list. Gave you about a 1-1 or a 1-2 return there on your liability just for that single goal. Leipzig and Freiburg finally poised. I think second half might be belonging to Leipzig. Really straight out of the blocks. 1 shot on target, 1 goal. Could do with 3 points. Both sides in winning form as well. But you'll note Freiburg's opponents have been Bochum, Heidenheim, St. Pauli, who they lost to. Werder Bremen recently newly promoted. All of these sides apart from Augsburg. We're talking a couple of seasons ago, minimum. So they've had it doesn't look that appealing, those 4 wins in 5, compared to Leipzig's. They've played a lot better teams. So let's go through St. Pauli. Possibilities of the goal. 26 dangerous attacks for St. Pauli. Brighton, 40 minutes in. 2 shots on 9 off 7 corners. Good defensive display from Wolves. Those elves, they can't keep a clean sheet at the moment. That's the problem. And we can look at half-time. If it is 0-0, at the best time to score at home. Second half. Is there a specific time period? Is it when the subs come on? 60th minute? Is that when they start coming alive? Second half? We will see. First half has belonged to them. You can see that with the momentum and the attacking pressure index there. 40 minutes in. And you can see with Bolton as up against Peterborough as well. Concerted pressure from them, but only the 2 shots on target. Again, these are matches you can potentially target second half. And no shots on target yet for Brentford, but just because it's so early in the match, you've got to take on a newly promoted side away from home. Half-time team talk, I hope, will do what Coventry did and turn it around second half. Ipswich will be lacking that belief that they can get out of this with a 0-2 lead. So I'm hoping the newly promoted side will start to fold under questioning. Barnsley looking promising. 1 shot on 4 off 4 corners. Similar story for West Brom against Cardiff. 10 shots off 7 corners. Good secondary stats. Brewing up nicely for the second half. Burnley against QPR as well. Home advantage. Looking to count here. 2 shots on 9 off 9 corners. 0-0. But knocking on the door second half. Can they produce? And no first half breakthrough just yet for them. Let's keep an eye out on the secondary leagues as well. Catch up. Don't have a strong opinion there, but look at Charleroi reaction to going a goal down. We'll keep an eye on that one.
This market has been suspended.
Bit more picky today. Not seeing anything from Wayne Rooney's side yet. Sheffield United, I wouldn't be opposing. We've got a goal back from Brentford. Fabulous stuff. And it's come before half-time. Perfectly timed. Because it's going to really put the wind up Ipswich now. Going in at half-time at 1-2. Whole different complexion on the match. The lack of belief from Ipswich will be You'll note I can get out with a net profit. Don't forget this total line
Goal. Brentford
was
Ipswich is 1-2.
13.70 plus £5.20, about 13 quid, 14 quid liability, 33 profit minus 14, you're out there with 20 quid. Just for a goal before half time. Fabulous. So I was just experimenting with the 1-2 and the 0-2, but it could be doable, particularly if you get that goal before half time. But you must get this lot to score the next goal, and early enough. So we're up and running. Fabulous. So we're up and running with a Brentford goal before half time. So take the gift if you want, or trust 1.67 shots to get a 2-2 and push on. Very nervy Ipswich. So you can see the impact of that goal before half time. Hope you're all okay at YouTube. So excellent stuff. Burnley, as you can see, knocking on that door. So that's certainly one for the second half. You could have a little tickle in the half-time market. You've seen.
This market has been suspended.
Now that, is it 2-2 or is it half-time? Or is it 1-3? Oh, it's 2-2. Oh, look at this. Look at this. From the Tractor Boys. That's why you take on newly promoted sides leading 0-2.
Goal. Brighton Wolverhampton is 1-0.
Try that on for size. Add to the Coventry. It's a nice Saturday. Fabulous.
Goal. Brighton Wolverhampton is 1-0.
Now, stick or twist. Brighton scoring before
Goal.
Wolves.
St. Pauli Wolfsburg is 1-0.
Aston Villa, weren't we? But that's part of the course with Brighton, so no surprises there. But look at that, 82 squid. Fabulous stuff. We were going to Burnley, weren't we, before I was rudely interrupted. This is highly unlikely to come in because it's probably half-time already. But certainly one to target second half, isn't it? 3 shots on 10 off 11 corners. Yeah.
Goal. Brentford Ipswich is 2-2.
80 is very tempting indeed. Oh. Oh. All right, so that's the... Oh, I've got a cat with a dodgy leg now. Poor thing. Yeah, okay. Right, something to possibly eye. You can see them coming alive. Mealby, late on. I don't know what the cat wants. 2-1 to Leipzig. Just keep an eye on this one because they're starting. And what you can do here, don't scratch your nails.
Goal.
It's not my
RB
city.
Leipzig SC Freiburg is 2-1.
I don't know what you want, mate. Okay. Maybe he wants me to lift him up. Excuse me for a sec. The cat's got a bad leg, so I'm going to go up there, mate. Hey, come on. Come on. There you go. Okay.
Goal. Shrewsbury Barnsley
Right,
is
I don't know how he's
0-2.
going to get down with that leg. Leipzig leading, so we could have trusted them today, alas. So we're looking at a possibility of Mjällby equalising late on, but you can tell with market, but a little bit of.
Goal.
I've
RB
increased my
Leipzig
stakes to
SC
10.
Freiburg is 2-1.
I'll start at 1.25 to win a tenner. 1.19 to win a tenner. 1.14 to win a tenner.
Goal. Charleroi Leuven is
1.09.
0-2.
Liability at £2. So that's about 23 quid. As you can see, the later the goal, the more we'll clean up. So this will be under £2 as well. Keep alive.
This market has
Still
been
have a really good
suspended.
chance. 33 if it gets to 1.06. 2-0 to Stuttgart, not unexpected at those odds. 1.22 pre-match favourites. Champions League as well. So watch out for the possibility of Mjällby. Just the pennies dropping, but we've got 9 minutes of extra time. Keep your liability low because of the league. But you can see the reaction to the red cards. Coming all too late, but at least it's coming. So we've done it. We don't have to monitor. Maximal loss here will be a tenner. So I don't really need to be monitoring this. If we get the 1-1, fabulous. If we don't, we've lost a tenner. Dortmund, well, you can tell this is a real laboured performance from Dortmund today. I don't trust them just yet to get an equaliser. Very hard work. Very equal match as well. So, and you can see Augsburg are starting to light up again. This could be a bridge too far for Dortmund, having to play Real Madrid and the pressure of that. And then to suddenly get back into action 4 days afterwards. Just not quite there. Looking very leggy, those stats at least, aren't they? They're looking very leggy. Well, St. Pauli and the Wolf haven't turned up yet. The struggle is trusting a newly promoted side, but we're just hoping for that single goal. We've got 13 more minutes for something to occur. No surprise here, Brighton and Wolves. Possibilities for those kind of stats for a goal before half-time. I don't know whether I mentioned it. Might have done with Villa and not Brighton. Take that off the watch list, I think. This is going with expectation, isn't it? Bolton. Possibility of dominating Peterborough at some point, but secondary stats. But only 2 shots on target is the negative there. Carlisle, well, we were looking at a reaction. We know they're odds on favourite. We haven't seen a reaction. You've got to see a reaction in these lower leagues. This is where your trades go awry. League One, League Two, because of the lack of quality, really, or trustworthy nature of these sides. Odds on favourites don't always deliver at these odds. And you can see the cat staring at me, listening to me intently. Hopefully you're taking notes, mate. So I get the cat trading so we can chip.
This market has been suspended.
Brentford and Ipswich, we are job done, but now you've got that dilemma. You've got 80 quid in the bag before half time. Or for the chance of 1 goal only scored by Brentford in the remaining 45 minutes. That will yield you 172 quid. Up to you. But I think that 80 quid is very, very tempting. Add that to the 100 quid from Coventry earlier on, and you're having a wonderful Saturday, and it's only 3.53. So some days we can really clean up, and we're not going mental stakes-wise as well, which is very appealing. Few second half possibilities. West Brom are dominant, but they've had 3 consecutive draws and 2 0-0s in the last 3 matches, failing to score in 3 of the last 4 matches. That's not the form I want to take on a 0-0 second half. But they are the dominant force. This might be their season summed up. Weak in attack, but promise. 10 shots off target, 7 corners. I wouldn't be laying the draw just yet, but those 2 0-0s in the last 3 for the Baggies. Problems up front, you feel. 0-2 for Leuven at half time. Again, it's a favourite 0-2 down on or around half time. Not as compelling as the other ones, but you can see the value you're getting. You can back Charleroi at 19s where they were Even's favourite pre-match, and the in-play stats are very tight as well. You can have a look at the match, Charleroi and Leuven, just to see whether the goals were deserved or not. If it's an own goal or a penalty, then we could be tempted into a play here. No, Warmezy's having a fantastic day today. He's one for the future. That lad covers every blade of grass. So nothing really doing, but I can show you the odds. You can see why I like taking on underdogs, particularly away from home, leading 0-2 at half-time. You get that half-time team talk, a good one, like the Coventry team had, and you can see it's very compelling to have a play without costing you too much. Time team talk. Remind the team they're playing in front of home support. Keep your liability low. Back an Even's favourite at home at 25-1. You don't have to risk too much either. £7.99 just to see whether Charleroi can score the next goal. 6 shots off target. That's the only real thing we've got on our side at the moment there. One way of looking at value. Odds on favourite. Not odds on, but favourite away from home. Sorry, underdog away from home leading 0-2 on or you're playing on the home element, half-time team talk. The fact they were favourite pre-match, all doing a Coventry, I hope. Aston Villa Bournemouth looks an obvious lay the draw second half, doesn't it? But is this another case of the old Dortmunds? Is it a match too far for Aston Villa? They did get a goal disallowed in the first half. Did they make any changes to the team? This is something you have to look at post-Europe as well. Particularly for a wily old fox like Emery, who knows his way around a European competition. This is the problem we have. Are they going to be resting and just knocking the dynamic off kilter a bit? Any Tyrone Mings, I suppose? Is he coming off the back of an injury? Buendia? It's pretty much a first 11, isn't it? Ollie Watkins certainly. Tielemans involved. McGinn for Scotland. So lots of internationals as well. Martinez in goal. It's pretty much a strong 11. I would expect, I wouldn't expect a 0-0, put it that way, in the current form this lot are having. So this, laying the draw at some point, or you could even, if you fancy an over 2.5 goal play, you're going to get extremely good value for the villains. But we're flirting with the possible post-European fatigue. So let's just see. Well, Stuttgart have been red carded and they're leading 2-0. So look for any 20 minutes to go. And we've got that goal for Mjällby. Let's break and take a look at this one. How much money did I get matched? 20. How about that? Let's see what got matched. 1.25 match, 1.19 match, 1.14 match. You see, by increasing the stake to a tenner now, you're getting a lot bigger return, aren't you? So that's the real positive element there. Getting a lot bigger return. Bang. Fabulous.
This market has been suspended.
Hopefully that's the end of the... That's drip laying for you. Perfection. And again, the advantage of turning up here to the live stream, you get the odd bonus like that, the old Brucey bonus. So while it's half time, let me just get rid of some of these and add the Bundesliga, which I like. Danish First Division, OB Odense I really like. Goal machines. So I'll be following them with interest. you can see the blades delivering. So we've got, we just see if we can flesh out a bit of this. I'm still not going to be laying Augsburg just yet, but they are valued to be laid at 1.4. You know what the Yellow Army are going to be giving you, but likely this is a very fatigued performance. So I would be waiting a little bit longer, but if you wanted to have a tickle of Dortmund, by all means do it at double figure odds. That will ensure that you're not getting involved, well, not putting too much money onto a side who may be fatigued from Europe. Packing at 15.5, you're still going to get an odds move if we can get that goal from Dortmund next, with enough time to suggest that they could get another push on for the win. So this is, for me, value 15.5. Don't forget the amount of time left as well. 20 minutes, ample time. Get a 2-2 before the 80th minute. We're up and running, because you're not going to be getting 15.5 at 2-2, are you? Regardless of when it becomes 2-2. Unless, of course, it's all the way up to the 90th plus minute. So that's looking good. St. Pauli,
This market has been suspended.
whoever wants it, but trusting a newly promoted side, you never know. Obvious reaction to conceding heavily recently. You tend to see that sudden switch defensively. But I suppose it's the argument for both teams, conceding far too many, and then suddenly the defensive coaches have been working overtime, tightening the ship. But now they need to score a goal. We're at half time. Is it going to be beginning second half? Do you fancy what you're seeing from Bolton? Any draws they've had recently haven't been 0-0s, which is a good thing. 27th of April saw a 3-3 humdinger, where Peterborough were 0-2 down at half time. Peterborough's last 0-0 away from home, they lost 3-1 second half. So they might capitulate late on. We've certainly got Bolton secondary stats looking very bright. Hope you're all okay over at YouTube. Well done, Robert. So I'm glad I got the microphone working eventually, and you stuck with it, because it's been an excellent day, particularly if you got on Coventry earlier on. Fabulous stuff. And then you've got your 80 quid for Brentford if you want to take that. So having a look, Bannical Strava, we'd be expecting a reaction from them. You can see 51 dangerous attacks, 7 shots off, 7 corners. Pardubice shouldn't really be landing a blow against a 1.45 away favourite. So liquidity will be the issue here with the Pardubice match. Pardubice. So if you wanted to play this, again, insurance will be relatively high because we're heading towards half time. So if you take your insurance out, look at the +1 for Bannical Strava. Is it decently above 1.2? Well, not really. It's 1.63, which means the market quite fancies Bannical Strava here today. So if you fancy this one, the only negative, if you're having a good day like we're having, you might not want to be risking profit on the Czech 1 League. Okay, if you've made some really decent coin, don't throw it away on the likes of Romania and the Czech Republic. But we're looking to see whether there's a vulnerability with Pardubice. So half stakes back Bannock, half stake as liability laying Pardubice. Again, that leaves you with a small loss on the draw to tempt you to stay in for that 57 if we get an equaliser. Talking of equalisers, there's just no show second half yet from Dortmund. Are they going to be bringing on any players at some point? Have they rested any? I suspect an international, then Champions League. Something's going to give at some point. I thought he was very impressive, Marlon. I saw him in the Champions League midweek. Really stood out. Emre Can substituted. Pascal Gross, so he would normally get a full 90 minutes. Emre Can. So this is what I'm talking about. Knocking the dynamic of the team off kilter. He had a brilliant game midweek where he looked classy, Emre Can. He's a normally normal starter. So it's little differences like this can knock your team out of kilter and knock our confidence in trusting them, because normally on paper they'd be far too good. But things are just catching up with Dortmund, I think, and they're not showing anything to suggest the taking on of Augsburg. The only thing that would lead me to take Augsburg on would be the odds, if they're short enough, particularly with 15 minutes to go. St. Pauli waking up, but the 3 points are there. Desperate need for 3 points for the 3-match losing run, and priced to be competitive today as well. Add the two together, and we've got the possibility of them crossing that line. But trusting a newly promoted side, you can see why it's difficult. Second half's beginning. Bolton, can they make that secondary pressure count? We should be seeing something from them second half. We haven't still seen that reaction from Carlisle. I'm not too bothered, really. We've made some excellent coin today. You don't have to spend too long over focusing on the likes of Carlisle when we've already had some big boys delivering for us. Barnsley deserved the lead against the Shrews. Get rid of that. West Brom, again, similar story to Bolton. Very, very solid secondary stats, but not crossed the line yet. Do you trust them? I don't. 2-0 nils in the last three. It's not top of my lay the draw list, particularly having a very profitable session. You don't need to risk on that draw. We can let some of these go by the wayside. Charleroi and Leuven, well worth a punt, isn't it? Particularly with 6 shots off target. Keep your liability low, that's for sure. Burnley have been the absolute standout. You're expecting that draw to end second half. We'll have a look. Burnley and QPR. So we keep an eye on this. 2.64. It's all a matter of trusting those in-play stats. So you might want to give it some breathing space just to see whether they can add to them. Because as you can see, we've not had a shot on target. Yes, only 5 minutes in. But this is one-way traffic. Do they have a reputation for goals? Burnley, they did score second half against Hull. Scored second half against Sheffield Wednesday. Failed to score against Preston. Scored before half-time against Plymouth. And didn't score against Oxford. I don't like those 0-0s recently. I don't like the lack of that second goal vibe either.
Goal.
So is QPR's conceding rate.
Is 1-0.
They've conceded second half in the last 5 matches, so they are vulnerable. It does look a clear-cut case, doesn't it? Do you trust? Well, it's very decent odds, to be honest. Similar to what I saw with Reading, although Reading, you had the red card in play. It's even more impressive. Sees 2.6. So possibility of laying the draw Burnley and QPR. 3 shots on 11 off, 11 corners. On target, 11 off and 11 corners. Burnley. Yeah, QPR conceding each of the last 5 second half.
Goal. Odin CVK Esbjerg is 0-1.
So Milton Keynes Dons leading. Angers scored first against Saint-Etienne. No surprise there. Saint-Etienne newly promoted. Set to be vulnerable today. 0-2 to Barnsley already against the Shrews. We don't need to be following that one anymore. So we're not seeing any Premier League goals. Let's just tidy up some of these peripheral matches. Look at that. Wayne Rooney, football genius, not today. Sheffield United making it 2-0. I was going to say Stoke are starting to stoke it up. But 2-0. That's what the Blades do. Very defensively sound under this manager, as you know. Lincoln City against Stockport. To keep this pressure up, second half, that draw could be vulnerable. Barnsley 0-2 as well. We can get rid of that now. We don't have to follow that. 3-1 to Leipzig. So the patient player would have been amply rewarded there. I just wasn't seeing it early on. But having a very good season. And you can see they've only really lost in the Champions League, which is a very good recent form for Leipzig. So you can see Carlisle, absolute no-show. That's what we were looking at. Odds on favourite, not turned up in reaction to conceding the goal. So we don't play that one. Bromley and Barrow, well, you can see Barrow deserved that lead. Grimsby, a very equal match, this one. But we've made such good money today, we don't need to be trying to solve Grimsby against MK Dons. The great thing about taking two really good profits early on, you can pick your battles now. We can look for the ones most likely to come in. We've got a red card in play here, but this is the National League. It's probably going to be too illiquid, which is a pity. Don't think we can play the National Leagues. So these are our watch lists. Let's have a look at our odds on favourites. Let's see whether they're turning into goals as usual. Aston Villa and Bournemouth, surprising, but surely that draw layable. Hopefully I mentioned that. Yeah, surely at some point that draw will be vulnerable. Happy to delay given the post-European status of the match. Hi Bosun. Thanks very much, Bosun. But I hope you saw it yourself for that red card. It's the kind of thing you look at and a reaction second half. Lottery numbers today, 25, 31, 22, 11, 16 and 54. And the Powerball number is 7. All right. Give me 30%, Bosun. I'll be happy with that. If those numbers come in, by the way, I might swear very loudly. So no goals of interest coming in just yet. Still haven't seen a reaction from Dortmund coming to the last 8 minutes of the match. You saw why Emre Can, normally a first 11.
This market has been suspended.
Necessarily
Goal.
playing too many.
Mirror is 2-1.
Fatigue. Augsburg layable for me. Very, very short odds late on, just as a throwaway play. 77 minutes, 13 minutes still, but no additional shots on target for either of these two. 3 points are up for grabs. Whoever can score a goal. Bolton, got to replicate first half. Haven't done that just yet. Holsten Kiel have a goal back against Stuttgart. I didn't lay Stuttgart after the 10 men. Should have done, really. 2-0 up. Well done to Holsten. That could be a good one to lay Stuttgart very, very late on. Particularly if we keep an eye on the Holsten Kiel stats. Bolton, not really got going 10 minutes into the second half. Only one shot off target. So you've got to make sure that the first half enthusiasm continues on into the second half. Accrington, Stanley and Walsall, but we don't have to focus on that today after such a good profit. 2.45 the favourite, you've got to look at the in-play stats because the market can't pick a winner. And you can quite clearly see it's a strong home form. But don't forget, first half.
This market has been
Got to
suspended.
see this second half. So we have to delay a little bit. Make sure this pressure continues for Lincoln. That draw could be vulnerable, particularly a Stockport who hate the sight of the draw. They are League One's Udinese, 4 draws in 5. Certainly the draw sequence layable at some point. Brentford and Ipswich, did you get out at half time with 80 quid? Are you waiting for 172 quid? Got a whole second half to go for an Ipswich capitulating already. Confidence drained hugely. Brentford buzzing. One more goal. And you'll be making a very big reward. It's very difficult to throw 80 quid away, isn't it? Particularly as it's in the bag, done and dusted before half-time. Bannacle Strava does look promising, doesn't it? 10 corners, 7 shots off target, 1 shot on, 7 off 10 corners. It does look compelling. The only negative is the league element. 62 dangerous attacks to 20. That's quite a strong gauge, isn't it? West Brom, 10 shots off, 7 corners. 1.85 pre-match. Again, 2-0 nils in the last 3. Failing to score in 3 of the last 4. It's not top of my list of things to do. That is for sure. Crewe and Tranmere we can get rid of. I don't have a strong angle there. Notts County, well, 13 shots off target, 72 dangerous attacks at 0-0. Do you trust this league? That is the question.
This market has been suspended.
Neuven, if you fancied it second half, 7 shots off, 5 corners. It's given you a little bit of hope. Twice as many dangerous attacks. Pre-match favourites. We've already seen it come home with Coventry with a £100 profit earlier on. You've already seen it come home with Brentford by half-time. That was an 80 quid profit by half-time. So, good form for these comeback kings, 0-2 down at half-time. Millwall, well, in the form they've been really fighting spirit. Millwall,
Goal.
match they
Brentford
conceded
gives
late
Rangers
on,
3-2.
0-1 to make it 1-1. 1-0 win against Plymouth. Very problematic scoring-wise for both of these two. Failing to score the Swans in the last 4 matches.
Goal.
Millwall
Notts County
scoring
Harrogate Town
0-0,
1-0.
1-1. I don't think I'll be laying that draw myself. Cambridge United and Burton. Plenty of noise, 52 dangerous attacks, but no shots on target. Again, you don't have to force it today, particularly when you've had an excellent start to the session. Burnley QPR. Again, we'll be looking for that draw to end at some point, but this is all first half. Don't get suckered in. Yes, 1 shot, second half. Good. 1 shot on, 1 shot off. 2 corners. That looks very compelling. But you're 15 minutes into the second half, they haven't turned up. Okay? Don't get
Goal.
the shot
Notts
time.
County Harrogate
This is
Town
what
is
is
1-0.
this lot. What a trader wants, don't they? You've got the pre-match odds. You've got the shot times. You've got everything you need. Everything on the one screen as well. When it works, this piece of kit. It's brilliant. Aston Villa Bournemouth. Post-European fatigue is what I'll put this down to. So I wouldn't be laying that draw just yet. It's very difficult to trust. It's like Dortmund. You can see them just, something's got to give. We've just beaten Dortmund, for goodness sake. Sorry, beaten Bayern Munich. We're on a massive high. Beaten Bologna, easy as you like. 0-0 with Man United. Something's going to give, though. But they did score 2 second-half goals against Bologna. Failed to score at home against Man United. Did score 2 second-half goals against Fulham. Did score second half against Bayern Munich. So there is some hope for Villa. We just have to wait. Do you fancy laying that draw? You're certainly with a side in excellent form. The only negative, as you know, European fatigue. That's what I would put this down to. Similar story with Dortmund. OB Odense have conceded the first goal. That might be a trading angle. Really, really solid goal-scoring team. So we'll show you OB Odense. So let's have a look at this one. Might be just under Odense. That's HC Odense. It might not even be OB against Esbjerg. Okay. As ever, this is based purely on the reputation. Don't forget, the lower down these leagues we go, the less trustworthy they become. 12-second gap as well. So laying over 1.5 goals. We'll cover the 0-1 for Esbjerg. OB's reputation for goals will probably mean OB +1 is going to be skinnier than Victoria Beckham, 1.29. So you're going to have to go match odds, and they're probably going to be odds on in the match odds market, which gives us very little value, doesn't it? So call this one just a bit of practice. Okay. Now with odds like this, half-time market is always there for you, isn't it? We've got the vast majority of the half to go. And don't forget, you don't have to play this if you've had a very good day. Heading off to these lower tiers, you don't have to risk. See, it's a very poor profit, isn't it? but it's very low liability. Your only alternate route is to try to get something in the half-time market. 1-1, try to ignite that 2-1, but any unquoted at 2.86 is ridiculous. So no market forces available. So we're flogging a dead horse, I think, here. 2.5. Well, they're expecting first half goals. Look at that. No value at all in the first half market. It's a good sign for you that we're expecting an equaliser for OB or Denza. Still no goals in any matches of interest at the moment. Very quiet. So let's take a walk through the odds-ons. Let's see if they're producing. They're only
Goal.
Aston Villa and
SCR
Bournemouth.
Austria
60
Klagenfurt
minutes
is 1
in.
to 0.
Brentford, you're in there. Get out. Get out. I didn't see the 3-2 come up. My apologies. This is going to be very tasty indeed. Take it. You cannot afford to throw away 136 quid. Okay? Take it, take it, take it, and run to the hills.
Goal. SCR Altic Austria Klagenfurt is
Definitely.
1 to 0.
Cash. Brentford 3-2. What a fabulous day. 2 over 100 to 1 winners. Not 100 to 1, 2 over 100 quid winners. Wow, man. So we can get rid of that. That is done and done. That is what you want to see. It's a perfect 0-2 trade. The work done and dusted before half time. Absolutely fantastic. Loving it. Loving it. You can see Benicol Strava knocking on that door. Really solid, aren't they? 9 shots off 10 corners. This is the kind of confidence you want to see when you've taken an insurance play out. It's one-way traffic. You've got the 1-0 covered. You just need that goal to bring the match odds or start the match odds profits rolling. So we're in with a chance here. If you want a very, very late lay of Augsburg, it's up to you. But as you can see, Dortmund have not turned up today. Dortmund and Aston Villa, post-European heartache so far for these two. So that's always a factor. I wouldn't be playing that late unless it's under 1.1 for Augsburg, and it would just then be just a throwaway. So there we go. 1.14, costing you tuppence to find out. Again, you could do your drip lays. Good way to practice your drip laying. Start at the first available odds before 1.25 to win a tenner. Then move it to the next one down in the sequence, 1.09 to win about 25 quid, I think. Or just below. 22 quid. And then at 1.06, again, if we can get that Mjalby-like very late winner, we'll be cleaning up. So the increased liability is really rewarding you earlier on. If you get that goal coming in earlier, you're making a bigger profit, aren't you? But we've got a bigger risk, of course. We're already up to £7.30. So we're drip laying Augsburg late on, just in case. Highly unlikely to come off. It's just one of those matches, isn't it? Possible late lay the draw, St. Pauli and the Wolf. Newly promoted sides might be vulnerable to a late concession. They did keep Leipzig quiet, St. Pauli. It's not one I would target for a late lay the draw. Bolton still very quiet. 3 shots on, 11 off. And don't forget, check your second half. Only the 1 shot on target second half. 2 shots off and 2 corners. It's nowhere near the dominance of the first half performance. So I wouldn't be laying that draw just yet. Bolton and Peterborough.
This market has been
Or
suspended.
again, the second half is as compelling as the first. It's not. They haven't turned up. So a very good warning to you. This all looks bright, doesn't it? It's telling you, got to get a winner from the home side. But they haven't turned up second half. I'll tell you who has turned up second half. Benicol Strava. And this is Why? You must have an in-place stats. It will pay for itself. This is the only way I would have played this, was with the confidence that the in-place stats were providing. That's the only reason I would have played this one. And there we go. That's taken majority.
Goal.
So please, if you're going to trade football seriously, get yourself an in-play stats feed. Soccerscanner.net is a tenner. In-play Guru, about 20 quid or thereabouts. Absolute bargains. Unless you're a mathematician and want to work out attacking pressure indexes yourself, and these pay for themselves, as you can see here. So we're laying over 1.5 goals. Cost me 8 quid. So I can get out with a net profit of 11 quid. Or I can make a £15 loss on the draw. Net loss, taking into account this, in the hope of a 57 quid profit on Bannock. So these are the questions you have to answer. Do I stay in? Do I lock in profit? Or do I look for the bigger reward? Now, the only way to find that out, amount of time left, half an hour, loads of time.
Goal.
Secondary stats, dangerous attacks through the roof. So that's suggesting take the 13 quid hit, because you're highly likely they're going to dig out a win if this kind of pressure continues, with a third of the match to go, don't forget. So that looks a good one. West Brom. It's all about the secondary stats and only the one shot off target second half. So these big boys at home have not turned up second half. They've just not turned up. Notts County, well, they've turned up, so I can get rid of that one. Charleroi, second half, well, good secondary pressure, 47 dangerous attacks again. So again, well worth having a go, particularly if you're going to start now at 1.08. Swansea and Millwall, no strong opinion, but Millwall have been in.
This market has been suspended.
They are very troubling finding that second goal. Cambridge United and Burton, plenty of secondary action again. Is it mostly first half? That's the question. Well, 4 shots off target second half. Again, we don't have to worry too much, having nailed some really decent profits earlier on. Burnley, well, we know the story there, just a 1 shot on target. Plenty of secondary shots, plenty of corners. Surely they crossed the line at some point. Aston Villa, taking pressure index 1.34. Well worth delaying this one. And I'm quite happy to miss if Aston Villa do score. It's just that European fatigue seems to be impacting. Red card for Dortmund late on. That compounds their European woes. So Aston Villa, some point I think there'll be a goal. Not going to lay the draw just yet. Odense looks a good call as well. So just get rid of some of these. Huddersfield, get rid of that. Northampton dominant. Walsall, again, we just need to make sure these are not first half stats. So I'm just going to get back to Football 24. There we go. That's the one. Well, still 1-0 for Man City, a typical post-European slog in the mud. Hajduk split, post-European slog in the mud at 1-1, 72 minutes in as well. So there's a few. Aston Villa 0-0, Dortmund losing. So we've been very lucky picking non-European sides, delivering like Brentford and Coventry. So let's just have a look through some of these. And we can take it quiet this evening now as well. Having made a really decent profit, you don't have to throw it away. You can be very discerning this evening.
This market has been
Solid
suspended.
opportunity, like the Togo women. So just tidy this up while it's quiet goals-wise. Rayo Vallecano against Alaves. well, they've been red carded via Kano. Really, Alaves should take advantage. So I'll be looking on that one with interest. Oh, missed that SPL. So just have a look. Dundee and St Johnstone. Nothing doing here. Dumbarton Inverness. No. Montrose and Cove. Get rid of this. League One. Just not getting any goals of interest at the moment. So we're not missing anything. I know this is the laboured way of doing it. Championship we can sort of trade. It's just on the cusp of lacking liquidity. So I'll say ta-ra to those. Just nothing coming in at the moment.
Goal.
Second Bannock will start the goal. I think they'll be capable of it. Lots and lots of footy that we don't have an interest in. Ferrorense, Portimonense. Let's just see. Aruca got me that 330 quid before half time. 1.06 shots. So watch out for them in the future. Their match in the Portuguese Cup. Not going to show up. 1.06. 0-0 after 20 minutes. 8-1 in the over 2.5 goal first half goals market. 0-3 at half time. Wow. Spectacular. Odense making the right noises for that equaliser. They are just one of those very, very reliable sides. Famous last words, they got a loss recently. That's against Fredericia, I think. Oh no, Koje. That was out of nowhere. But again, if you're going over 2.5 goals, Odense are a brilliant side for the neutral player. So let's have a look at our watch list. So we're coming to 4:30, and St Pauli and the Wolf will not be happy bunnies with that one. Priced to be competitive today, St Pauli just not crossing the line. Bolton, still, it's not compelling enough. 3 shots on target, only second half. Nothing concertinaed, no real concerted pressure. It's all split. 46.
This market has been suspended.
Second minute. 46, 47, 48, 49. Concerted pressure. Like there, look. 2 72-minute corners. That's the pressure you want. So happy to delay. Lincoln, well, deserved. I did mention that. So when you get a 2.45, the favourite match, you've got to use the in-play stats. The market's saying, look, we've looked at this pre-match, we can't pick a winner. So logic suggests you're going with the market. And the market would have paid. Not the market, the match odds, the in-play stats, sorry. There's that equaliser you can see, holding out with that kind of pressure. It's really good stuff, isn't it?
This market has been suspended.
Really last 2. So I think they'd be keen to get the 3 points. But you could cash out, of course, at the 1-1. The Blaggies, one of a group of sides at home of just not delivering second half, just a 1 shot on target. So I won't be laying that late draw just yet. Shalwa, 2 shots on 10 off 9 corners, but running out of time. So we're with a good team. Red card for Ipswich is definitely going to bring all of your Brentford money in. Fabulous. So Shalwa making the right noises. Could have done with a goal about 65th minute. Swans in Millwall, I don't have a strong opinion. Similar story, Cambridge and Burton don't have to play today. Burnley, as you can see, but it's all about the first half, isn't it? Lots of second date shots. And we got that. I thought we had a red card as well, but we don't. But this will be a drop 3 points. This doesn't come in. 15 minutes to go. And Bannock Ostrava have brought it home for those of you who stayed in. Bang. Wait for this to tighten the ship. Please don't get out immediately. Okay. And look at this insurance premium. £8.
Goal.
Making a very nice profit. Just wait for this to tighten. You can see avoiding European sides today really paying off smartly, isn't it? Although Hashtag Split have got the win 2-1. But we're not getting any action of the European Dortmund and the Villains. And Man City just 1-0. Huffing and puffing after a strong set of high-profile fixtures. So, bang. So, well worth it. Nat, the only way I would have traded that is because of the in-play stats. So, great advertisement for you for getting yourself a subscription to this. I'm not an affiliate. I'm just a very happy customer sometimes. And this, of course, is an excellent backup for when the guru goes wrong. Soccerscanner.net. This is a tenner a month. Even the stats, but exceptional value for money. So we've got over 2.5 goals. You could use this yourself to get your shortlist. And the Villains have got a goal eventually. 1-2, 1-0. It was coming, but when was a goal going to come? Was it going to be a 90th minute one? And then you're looking at a big loss. So this is by league. And of course we know the scanner. Efficient for the trader as the guru.
This market has been
Missing
suspended.
some key elements to it. But it's a great budget, £10 a month. You must have in-play stats to trade. You saw a couple of weeks back when the stats feed was down. A goal has been disallowed for the Villains. Oh dear. And Bannock Strava, Parda Butche have made it 2-2. Great advert for cashing out. It's 2-2. Great advert. Lock in your profit and whatever happens after that, who cares? So remember that, particularly in these Czech leagues. They can be a little dodgy, as you've just seen there. So good stuff. Particularly those of you who are following me in on some of these more speculative plays. We're being rewarded today for taking a risk. And it looks as if that Aston Villa goal is confirmed. An obvious lay the draw, but it's just that European headache. I don't know what to do. You know, when do I lay the draw? Am I happy to take a full hit if we don't get that goal? But it looks as if it's normal service resumed for Aston Villa. 1-0. Bolton and Peterborough. We might see Peterborough nicking a goal now. Kept it very, very quiet.
Goal.
Second minute
Aston
shot
Villa
on,
Bournemouth is
77th minute
1-0.
shot off. 7th corner. Is this the modus operandi for Fergie Jr.? Nick a late 0-1. Again, it's not a match you need to fixate on today, given the big profits we've made already elsewhere. Similar story, West Brom. These are ones you can perhaps target for a 1.15 late lay of the draw. Concerted pressure, but just not. Second half, just not as compelling as the first. Look at Burnley as well. Just not doing it. Manager's going to have a coronary if they don't bring 3 points to the table. There's the Aston Villa goal. It was coming. Expected goal ratio 1.51. 8 shots on, 10 off, 9 corners. But you can tell it's an obvious post-European slog in the mud. Alaves should take advantage of this Rayo Vallecano red. But when? 21st minute red. 6 shots on. 4 of them second half. 3 shots off second half. So really good second half stats for Alaves. Possibility of this draw ending at some point. Not as compelling as the Reading match earlier on. Those in-play stats were far better. But again, evens. You know, if Alaves score and you've laid the draw, those evens odds are going to go up to 10s or higher for a really good move. So I'll just get the match up. I'll try to get a bit more out to the market. Alaves not exactly renowned as goal merchants. 4 consecutive defeats as well. We might have to just have a look at their stats. Don't know them off the top of my head. And let's have a quick look. Sorry, Espanyol. So we just want to see how they've been goals-wise, even 11v11. See whether they can cope. So let's have a look. So recent form, you've seen failed to score on 2 of the last 3. Got 2 goals against Real Valladolid and against Real Madrid. 2 of them 85th and 86th minute. 90th minute. So they've got a late goal in the bag. Alaves. Rayo Vallecano used to keeping things tight, as you can see, not conceding that second goal for quite some time. Espanyol were the last side. Not conceding that second goal after 6 matches, so pretty good stuff.
Goal.
But it's that red card to be
jerk is 1-1.
looking to the equaliser for OB Odense. Some of these sides have on your notebook. You could have even gone first half market, really. But now this should start. Again, you've got to wait for it to flesh out because it's a lower tier. Nice and simple, isn't it? Because you know the team. OB Odense, very, very solid side. So just wait for that to flesh out. So looking at challenge table. 10th in the league. Good home form. Scored in every single home match. Alaves have scored in all bar 1 away match. Goal times. Any vulnerability late on? Not really. Scored 3 Alaves, 76th to 90th minute. That might be the time to get involved. 76th to 90th minute. So have that up and ready. If they can score 3 goals against 10, against 11, 76th to 90th minute. Then we've got 11 minutes to go. But are they going to score before? Pretty good odds, I must say, with a red card with 25 minutes to go. Again, values in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? They have been scoring second half goals, albeit late on. You've seen that. So I'm quite happy to see if I can get 75 minutes out of this Alaves match. Highly unlikely, though, it would seem, with that the momentum building up. 84th minute, Bolton, no show, really. Second half, not going to be laying the draw there. Not going to be laying the draw, Baggies, either. Charleroi deserve something out of this second half. They have bossed the second half, but a mountain to climb. That's why we're getting a low liability play. Not all of these 0-2s will come in. This wasn't a strong candidate, but 2 of them have come in today, producing between them 180 quid. So well worth pursuing, particularly today. Burnley will be bitterly disappointed. It's certainly one to lay the draw very, very late on. Drip laying, as Bosun said, that might do the job with this one. Good defensive display, you'd say, from QPR. We're looking at 75th minute entry point for Alaves. Scored 3 goals in that time period away from home. So that could be the danger point. Rayo Vallecano might just run out of steam with a man down. So quite happy to see an Alaves goal beforehand, but quite happy to take on Rayo Vallecano, or take on the draw 75th minute onwards. OB Odense, I'll be looking for the winner here because they are odds-on favourites. I'm done and dusted with that trade. Don't have to get involved here, and you can see it's dodgy. They come from behind, absolutely bossed it, and then they're letting it slip again. But you're already cashed out, so it doesn't really matter. Swans are starting to come alive late on, lighting up the expected goals ratio and the attacking pressure index. But they've not really gone above 75, so there's no real concerted pressure throughout the match. We're getting to their highest point during the match, coming at the end. Can they bring it home? 3 shots on, 10 off and 9 corners. Recent performances, well, failing to score in the last 4. Yeah, I'm really going to lay the draw in that match. Again, it's one if you want to lay the very, very late draw, because they're really having a good go, but obviously real struggles up front for the Swans. Can get rid of that. Not going to be playing that one. Lincoln already got the win we expected based on the in-play stats. Not too interested in these late 0-0s. Now we've had a very good day, we don't have to bother too much. Really good momentum you can see from both sides lighting up at the end. Swansea, you can see, do you trust them though? 5 shots on 11 off 9 corners. If you are to play, it's one for the drip lay, that's for sure. Definitely for the drip lay, you can see the trouble scoring goals, the Swans. Trusting them to score, right. Got to keep your liability low. And again, good exercise for the drip lay. Starting off, anything below 1.25, 1.19. Not with any confidence this, by the way. I wouldn't ordinarily play this one. Failing to score in your last 4, but why are they suddenly lighting up all of the attacking indexes? That should be 23. And then 1.06 if we get a very late winner. And that will be about 26 quid or even more. Keep that under 2 quid liability. £1.98. So this is with very little confidence. I would even recommend that you delay a little bit longer. Both sides struggling to score that second goal of late, but lighting up that attacking pressure index, you just never know. 86, 86, 86, 84. But failing to score in the last 4 matches, really not a good candidate for 2.5 for laying the 0-0, is it? So let's just tidy up some of these. It's been an excellent session. We don't have to really worry about the lower tier leagues today. We've made our money. We don't bother with the National League anyway. It's too illiquid. So really a bit quiet goals-wise, particularly in the big leagues. Very quiet indeed. Post-European fatigue maybe. I'll just get rid of a few of these. Get to the Premier League. So 1-0 for Brighton. Are they vulnerable? Been kept very, very quiet by Wolves. Can Wolves get a very late winner? A very late equaliser? They would deserve it. A good reaction to conceding nearly 3 goals a game recently. Again, an overreaction.
This market has been suspended.
See that. But Brighton in really solid goal scoring form. And there's that goal. Swansea and
This market has been suspended.
but that's why you lay the draw. And for those of you who want to clean up your OB, there's the 2-1. So just wait for this to tidy up. All right, mate. Pussycat meowing for some reason. Must be happy with it. He must have got involved in a Millwall match. After all, they are Lions. So the Pussycat probably put a few shekels on. So this is a beauty about laying the draw. It doesn't matter who scores. I was expecting the Swans to score, but it looks like Millwall have got the goal. But this is still suspended.
Goal.
VAR
2-1.
And cap on it. Yes, Millwall have got
This market has been suspended.
up front. Quite obviously, real struggles up front. Something has to give. So it's been an excellent session. We've got the 2-1 for Adenza as well. Just wait for that one to tidy up. And I can take it easy this evening now. Don't have to stay up too late. So you can cash out for a decent enough green, but you can wait, I think, at least for half time. Again, don't cash out just yet. This needs to be a little tighter. But you're getting an indication of the return there for OB Odenza. So I can take that one off the watch list. So up to you if you want to lay the late draws. All too little too late. The fans will be absolutely furious. 19 shots, 13 corners. Nothing to show for it at all. Brentford Ipswich is 3-3. You'd have better cashed out. You'd have better cashed out. If you haven't cashed out, you are grade A idiot. Never take anything for granted, please. You could have taken the gift horse at half time, and then anything that happens after that, it doesn't matter. Even down to 10 men, you do not take the risk that they're going to cruise to a 3-2 win. I wonder if this is a late penalty or an own goal or a corner, a late piece of corner action. Something happened to the Bees. Delap. Wow. What a day for Ipswich. Not a day for Brentford. That's why you cash out. Okay. Brighton needing that second goal, it seems, with the late flurry from Wolverhampton Wanderers, bringing in the late over 2.5 goals, which was mentioned in the chat. But with a 45th minute first half goal, I would have been waiting for the second half really for a goal. But Danny Welbeck still in form. Wow, Brentford and Ipswich. Oh dear, oh dear, dear, dear. If you didn't cash out, you've only got yourself to blame. Well, fair dues to Wayne Rooney. It's 3-3 Plymouth against Preston. Fair enough for the granny-loving donut eater. 3-3. Fantastic stuff. For Wayne Rooney, football genius. He'll be delighted with that. Swans and Millwall. Let's just dot the I's and cross the T's. Make sure you cash out. You'll have learnt from Brentford. You do not want a late equaliser. We didn't get too much matched, but we got enough matched to make a profit. But we can't cash out, suspended still. And I don't think it's VAR either. So I've just got to wait on that one. So interesting stuff late on. I don't know if you want to lay the late draw, Brentford and Ipswich. I'm not bothering. 136 in the bank. Should have you delighted. So I'll say goodbye to you at 5 o'clock. Probably not going to be doing too much this evening. When you've had a couple of big wins, you don't really need to throw it all away. So it has to be a really good one this evening for me to pass on to you. Really obvious, strong one with stats like this, but delivering. So you're seeing this now at 93 attacking pressure index from Bolton. Far too little. Far too late. $106. Well, you can do it. Going to cost you, is it 50p or even 5p? 50p, yeah. I'll take another.
This market has been
Just
suspended.
in case.
This market has been suspended.
So the Plymouth Preston match. I wonder if that's a good one for a late lay the draw, given the recovery from Wayne Rooney Football Geniuses Plymouth. $1.23 again. It's up there for a drip lay if you fancied it. 3 points are in the bag. Preston will be thinking we've got to bring this one back. Plymouth will be thinking let's finish this one off. So again, it's one that you might want to do drip laying if you fancied. So start now. 1.14. 1.09. This will be about 23. And 1.06 will be about 32. And off we go. Liability will still be low. But there's been plenty of second half goal action. Both of these sides will be very, very keen to just get that win after particularly Plymouth coming from behind. Be absolutely delighted. Charleroi, all too little too late, but very low liability. And these are the three main culprits. You can see over-delivering, but not delivering at all. Alaves, we're coming to that period now, 75th to 90th minute, where they do start scoring. So do bear that in mind. Draw odds are getting low enough. And Wolves have made it 2-2. What a fantastic recovery from Wolves. Late goals today in the Premier League.
This market has been suspended.
Possibly on a late 1-0 Brighton lead, but certainly not leading 2-0. Wolves will be delighted with this. Dropped points for Brighton. Well done to Millwall. Very late winner. Got us a late lay the draw.
Goal. Bolton Peterborough
2-2 it is, I think. Scored against Alaves. I didn't lay the late draw. But if you did in the 75th to 90th minute, the 10 men have scored. That might give us a possible lay. And we've got one of the goals coming in, Bolton. Did we lay the late draw in this one? Let's check this one out. I'm sure we did. Or did I pick the wrong one? Bolton 1, Peterborough 0.
Goal. Rayo Vallecano CDL.
Well, we only got £1.50 matched, but look at £1. Wow. £1.50 matched, £29 returned. Spectacular. Matched at 1.05. Oh yeah, 1.05, 30 quid. How about that? It's just one of those days today. I've got to buy a lottery ticket. Everything is working. And Bournemouth have the late equaliser against the Villains. More European woes. Blimey.
This market has been
Probably the end
suspended.
of the match. Got to cash out. You don't want that late equaliser for Peterborough. What an excellent day. I don't know why it's all working.
This market has been suspended.
With these all teams doing what you want them to do. Maybe the stats feed working better today, giving us a lot more confidence, isn't it? So if you laid the draw in all three of these, you'd be covering that with that Bolton winner. Very late on. Possibility to lay Rayo Vallecano as late as you dare. Because Alaves looked as if they were going to oblige. Don't forget they have scored 3 goals in the last 15 minutes of away matches. So this could be a very good low odds lay of Rayo Vallecano. Not sure in Austria if there's any strong plays for me there today. So 5 o'clock, I'll call it a day, and it's been an excellent afternoon. Yet again, odds-on favourites tending to deliver the goals. St. Pauli, the obvious exception so far. Rayo Vallecano, Alaves again, red card. I wouldn't be doing overs in that match, I don't think. That's just not got a good overs vibe about it. Not really 1.9 or lower. But as you can see, the general vibe is for goals. We don't have to play all of these odds-ons, of course. Play the ones that we like. Obvious but late action. Obvious newly promoted. That kind of thing. Well, should have had goals galore, but probably saved our blushes from an overs play with such an early 1-0. And this is European fixture written all over it, isn't it?
This market has been suspended.
5 goals. But they'll take a 1-0. Looking at even shorter shorties 1.35 and lower. We should be seeing 2 goals at least in these kind of matches. The only one to not apply, well, 2 of them I think, Napoli and Man City, both. Well, I don't know Napoli involved in Europe, Man City certainly. But again, time would determine. So second half, over 1.5 goals second half. I don't know, that would be on the cusp of being a profit. Brentford have made it 4-3 against Ipswich. I was umming and ahhing laying that very, very late draw. We did that in that other 3-3. I picked the wrong 3-3. But I've already got the 136 in the bag, so I didn't really lay the draw. Didn't really want to. Don't forget Rayo Vallecano as late as you dare. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. 5 o'clock. It's been an excellent session. I wonder what we've got coming up. Don't forget the Powerball Bosun, and I only want 30% of the winnings if it all comes in. Thank you so much. But what have we got coming up later on today? Everton-Fulham. Possibility of Everton scoring 2 goals today. Looks like Fulham might be one of those sides that Everton can target. But 2.63 suggests that you don't have to be getting too involved. 2-3 Bannicostrava getting out of jail with a late winner, but we already greened up there. Bayer Leverkusen expecting goals before half-time at 5:30. Atalanta, are they going to be more compelling at odds-on than Napoli were? PSV 1.11. Post-Europe might not bring it home. You saw Man City earlier on. And that's Las Palmas. Don't really appeal. Real Madrid-Barca, not really a trading match, this one. More of a watching match. I think it'll be an excellent match to watch. You can't discount Barcelona. They've been the more impressive this season. Real Madrid, a good show of Kylian Mbappe tonight. It's going to be a fabulous watch. I don't know if I'll be up. 2 a.m. kickoff for me. I think the clocks are going forward or backwards as well today. So that's it a bit later on. Likely to be a bit quieter this evening when we've made such good profits earlier on. Let's preserve them. It's been a very good week. Let's go into battle later on. I'll only be playing the very obvious ones and the very low liability ones.
This market has been suspended.
For coming along. And I'll see you all on Telegram for a little bit longer. Still got some of interest. So I hope I can give you a little bit more. But as you can understand, it's been such a good session. Pick our battles a bit later on. Thanks very much for coming along. And I'll see you all a little bit later.